Okay, good evening, everyone. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Sorry. Okay. Calling the meeting to order. This is the Planning Board reorganizational meeting, January 10th, 2023. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
Number one, call to order and statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting hearing has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel newspaper, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Number two, standard board procedures. Any meeting hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial meeting hearing must be maintained at all times. Number three, meeting cutoff. Announcement is made that as a matter of procedure, it is the intention of the planning board not to continue any matter past 10:30 p.m. at any regular or special meeting or hearing of the board unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting or hearing to a later specified cutoff time. Number five, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, number six, oath of office. So for the reappointees, we have Brendan Ray, Class 1, expiring December 31st, 2023. Teresa Dill, Class 2, expiring December 31st, 2023. Victor Veleza, Class 3, expiring 12/31/23. David Hands, Class 4, expiring 12/31/26. And Don Richardson, Class 4, expiring 12/31/26. So, Attorney Flynn, would you like them all to stand
Sure. Stand and
simultaneously?
raise your right hand. I state your name.
Yeah, always one. There's always one.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of planning board member
perform all the duties of planning board class 4 member
according to the best of my ability,
on the best of my ability,
and that I will not use my office
and I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment
nor to seek personal gain,
or some personal gain,
favor,
favor,
or advantage
advantage
not available to the general public.
available to the general public.
You can also say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Okay. And then after the meeting, if you guys just come and I'll execute your oaths of office. We'll notarize them.
Okay.
Or pass them down. That's fine.
All right, while we're passing, I will move on the agenda to the roll call. Committeeman Ray.
Present.
Committeeman Verleza is currently absent. Ms. Dill?
Present.
Mr. Hands?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Malinowski?
Here.
Mr. File?
Here.
Mr. Richardson?
Here.
Mr. Sandow?
Here.
To all the members of the public, we have a quorum. All right, moving right along to the election of chairman for the term to expire January 9th, 2024. I will now open the floor for nominations for chairman.
I would like to nominate Dennis Sandow.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Thomas Jones.
Okay. Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close the floor to nominations. So, with the approval of our board attorney, when I take the roll, I will ask you to state the name of the individual that you would be voting for.
I would say you would want to make it as a motion to appoint
Okay.
the chairman. Take a motion for Dennis first, and Mr. Jones second.
Okay,
So I'd be looking for a motion to appoint Dennis Sandow as chairman first, and then if that vote is not successful, you would then take a vote on the second.
okay. So,
Just as a question.
Yes.
Since we have two nominees, would it be appropriate to ask each of the nominees to give us a very brief explanation of why they would like the job and what they can do for us? Is that appropriate at this point, before a motion is made?
Sure.
Okay.
General discussion before a
Yeah.
motion. is
Would
fine.
that be acceptable to both people?
Yes. And another
Okay.
quick question, should we wait till Victor's here or not? Or do we have to go
Have we
with
heard from
who's
Victor?
present?
I have not heard from Victor,
Okay.
no. And Mr. Flynn, is he eligible to vote?
That was an interesting question that popped up today. Because he has business before the board, whether it would be appropriate for him to participate in reorg, knowing that his application is pending. I was gonna have a discussion with him offline before the meeting today at the request of Steve, the board attorney. That conversation did not take place and he's not here. So it may be a non-issue.
So we have a situation where we have 8 voting members.
Correct.
What's the tiebreaker if there's a tie?
There is none. You would vote until a motion passes for a chairman.
Okay.
Gee, like the House of Representatives.
I know about that.
Hopefully not.
We are not going to 14.
Let me ask you this, if Victor was here,
I think
he would
it'd be
vote,
easy.
right?
It would be up to him whether he heeded my advice as to whether or not he should be conflicted with business present before the board due to the local government ethics law. He could take my advice or not take. I cannot force him to recuse himself. My advice would be that he does.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yes. However, he doesn't have to heed that advice. So would he be present? He could theoretically be the ninth vote. That would be his decision.
So, just out of curiosity, why is that standard different than for other board members who recuse themselves from applications? Because he's not been participating
Right.
as a voting member during board deliberations.
There's no published case on it. The question is whether, normally, obviously, if a applicant is also a board member, they are allowed to present their case to the board as he would in due course. The question is whether participation at reorg and participating in the formation of the board for that year, which would hear the application, whether that creates a conflict of interest. There's nothing that says one way or the other. My advice is usually to be overly conservative with ethics issues. But again, he would not have to heed my advice.
But that would only affect this particular meeting for
It
this
would only
particular
affect
action.
reorg, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that being said, then the first roll call, we will have a second for,
Weren't they going to make comments?
oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
I apologize. Mr. Sandow? Your name was put forward first. Would you like to make a comment?
No, I stand on my record of 22 years of service to the town and the accomplishments of this board. And I'll yield the rest of my time to Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Standow. And I want to thank you for the last 2 years of your service as the chairman. If I were to be elected as the chair, there would be a couple of goals that I would put forward to measure the success of this body. The first would be the master plan. The committee as it stands today would stay intact. I would not inject myself into that process. Allow this body to continue the work that they've been doing, the good work that they've been doing. I believe it's projected to be completed by the end of Q1 with residents' input. And if there were any tiebreakers or where I would need to be, I would be tagged in to come in and deliberate over any ties or conflicts. We also know that once we do the master plan, it is finalized, there'll be a book of work, so there'll be more work that will need to be done, ordinances that need to be addressed, and so forth. And I would also be looking for active engagement with the public. It's important that we get their feedback. It's important that they're part of the process. I want them to be engaged, so that would be one of the goals that I would be putting forth. We know that there are two significant issues that our community faces. First is affordable housing. It is the locations, the development, and the impact that has on our community. The wastewater plant, when that is finally coming to fruition, we know that there's going to be active applications coming to this group, and there's going to be a lot of stress put on us and put on our community. I'd like to leverage technology, the use of Zoom. I'd like to make it so that it's a convenience for our residents, but we as a governing body would need to be in chambers. Any applications that come before us would need to be in chambers. So that's the applicant, their professionals, their attorneys, et cetera, all in chambers. I'd also ask that our board members here get active and liaise with the various committees out there. So for instance, we have the Great Swamp. We want to be active with them because they play a significant part here in Long Hill. The Shade Tree Commission, Environmental, Central Park, the Communications Committee, and as well as working with the Township Committee. And lastly, I would say, I love this town. I love everything I do for this town. I will do everything I can to speak with residents, engage with them, work with all of you with your specific expertises to bring something that we know we're not going to get everything we want, but like Mick Jagger says, we'll get what we need. So with that, I thank you, and I hope you vote for me.
Was that appeal to the baby boomers in that last part?
That was a baby boomer appeal, yes. Did you make it?
That's why he isn't.
Okay,
Can I
so,
ask a question before we continue?
of course.
One thing I'd like to have you both speak to just for a moment, doesn't need to be anything major, is something in observing in 2022 and something I'd like to see in 2023 is a better use of our time, a more efficient use of our time. And so I'm just wondering if either or both of you agree with that, and what your plan would be to make sure that we are using our time efficiently, professionals' time efficiently, the residents' time efficiently. Dennis, I'll just ask you first if you don't mind.
The only comment I have, Ms. Dill, is that I eat after the meeting, not before. And so the sooner we can get finished with the meetings, the better it is for me. I agree that the board should use its time efficiently and effectively. And as Mr. Jones pointed out, a lot of that is a function of how much work we can get done in committee.
Thank you, Mr. Sandow. I agree with you. We do spend a lot of time on wasted crosstalk. We also spend time on things that are not planning board material. For instance, talking about the power lines that have been put in. We have no say in what goes on. It's a right-of-way that the energy companies have. We have no input. We can't guide them. We can't direct them. So I wouldn't spend any time with that. I would challenge the Township Committee with some of the things that they bring down to us, such as how long should music be playing at a restaurant? I don't believe that belongs with the planning board. Or spending time around ATVs or all-terrain vehicles. I don't believe that belongs in the planning board. That sounds like an ordinance that should be done with the committee. But I would spend time working with the committee, the Township Committee, to make sure that what comes to the board is something that we focus on, that we stay on point, and that we deliver in an effective, cost-efficient manner for the residents and the applicants, and respect the rights of our board members. And like Dennis, I don't eat until I go home either. But my day starts at 5:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, and it's a long day. But I'm willing to sacrifice that because it's for the good of this town, and I love this town. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's start with then a motion and a second for Mr. Sandow as the chairman.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Ms. Dill?
Yes.
Mr. Hands?
No.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Malinowski?
Yes.
Mr. File?
No.
Mr. Sandow?
Yes.
4, 5. That's 5 from Mr. Sandow.
Since there was another candidate on the floor, you should also do a motion and a second for that candidate.
Okay. Motion and a second for Mr. Jones.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Okay. Mr. File?
Yes.
Mr. Hands?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
No.
Ms. Dill?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Malinowski?
No.
Vice Chairman, Mr. Richardson? Okay. No. And Mr. Sandow?
No.
Okay. So, Mr. Sandow is elected the chairman of the planning board again.
Very good.
Thank you all.
Congratulations, Mr. Sandow.
Very good.
Church Road.
I haven't eaten yet either, so I'm a little shaky.
Give me the hammer.
Oh, the hammer, I forgot the hammer. Gavel, isn't it called gavel?
Whatever.
It's about 4,500 square feet.
And Ms. Dill, your oath is the only one I didn't get.
Oh, sorry, I have it right here. I was filling it out before. Sorry. Thank you.
Did you sign it?
Did you, right? Deb, that's signed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's get the signatures. Deborah, hold on, take the signatures. Let's not leave any paper laying around.
All right, you got it.
Geez, Dennis, are you taking this seriously? Giving all these orders?
And then Victor, when he's here next meeting, we'll have to be sworn in. So do you want to take his oath, I
I'll
suppose?
clean it up at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the election of a vice chairman. I'll open the floor to nominations.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Richardson.
Second.
Any other nominations?
You're in trouble, Don.
Can you just give us 5 minutes speech about what you would do?
Support the chairman.
There you go. That was easy.
Meeting's running efficiently.
Are there any other nominations? Can we have a roll call, please, for Mr. Richardson?
Yes, I'm sorry, who was the first and the second?
Oh, no,
First and-
I nominated.
Okay, okay. Mr. File?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Ms. Dill?
Yes.
Mr. Hands?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Malinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Richardson?
Yeah.
Chairman Sandow?
Yes.
Motion carries, congratulations.
Very good.
Commiserations done.
Oh, he gets to do his own. Would you like to make a speech?
No. They yell them at a time and people's dinners.
Amen.
Yeah, we don't
The
have
next item
people
on
getting
the
hungry.
agenda is the appointment of a board secretary. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Just for the record, the board secretary is Deborah Coons.
Yes.
Can those be by voice vote, or should that be by roll call? Or does it matter?
Excuse me?
It was roll call last year.
It's not material.
Okay, Thank you.
matter.
But everybody knows.
yeah. Because I think in the past, we've done it with roll call.
Correct.
Okay.
If you'd like to do it that way, you can.
No, fine. No, if we don't have to,
Yeah.
For the other, for legal, for items number 2 through 5, would you prefer that we take a roll call, or is all in favor okay?
I'm going to follow the Dill rule and move the meeting along.
good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Should do.
Billable hours means something.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna wear that for a long time on that bill roll.
If anyone wants to make a strong case against taking a unanimous vote by a show of hands, I'm willing to listen to that strong case. Otherwise, I think that the roll call is unnecessary for these resolutions. Anybody want to make that strong case?
Nope.
Okay, the next resolution is the appointment of Steve Warner and his faithful Indian companion as the board attorney. And this resolution actually accomplishes two things. It appoints Steve by name as the board attorney because we are required to do that, and it authorizes payment of his bills. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? The next resolution is the appointment of the planning consultant. The difference between the planning consultant and the board secretary is that we don't have to appoint a planning consultant by name, the way we have to appoint an attorney by name. So what we're doing here is we are authorizing the payment of the bills from Phillips, Press, Gryle, Lahaney, and Hughes, and we know that Liz will be doing the work for us. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the appointment of the board engineer. This one is tricky because we have to appoint an engineer so we can pay the bills, but the only engineer we have is Samantha carrying over from last year on any applications and resolutions that are outstanding at the end of the last calendar year. So this appointment is carefully worded that we're retaining Mott McDonald and by implication Samantha to finish up her work from last year at last year's rates. And at the next meeting, we would hope to recommend to you a new board engineer for this year. The committee is working diligently at that. Are there any questions about what this resolution seeks to accomplish? And can I have a motion?
Is this just for
yes.
the Gates Avenue subdivision?
Say again?
Is it, we just have her for Gates Avenue?
Yes,
That's-
it's Gates Avenue and any other resolutions that are still open from last
Okay,
year.
because they're not called out in here, it just says Gates Avenue.
Yeah, that's,
And any resolution.
And any other ones?
compliance
Okay.
Issues related to 2022.
Resolutions. What about applications?
but she will be with the Gates Avenue application for as long as it takes, and she has agreed to that. Presumably her firm has, although they are apparently doing a major restructuring and don't want little guys for clients anymore. That's their call.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The next resolution is one that we added last year, and that's for an alternate planning consultant. This is Jessica Caldwell. Just in case there is a conflict that Liz cannot help us out on. We did not have to use Jessica last year, but it is convenient to have the alternate on record. Any questions about that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we've got the meeting schedule. And unless somebody sees a conflict here with my birthday, no, then we can This is pretty much standard.
Unless it's Valentine's Day or your birthday.
So moved.
Valentine's Day, we will all bring candy hearts for the board secretary. And for Ms. Dill.
What about me? Don't I get one?
What about you?
Don't I get one?
Can't do
How
that,
about
Dennis.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Smile?
okay.
Gotta be fair to everybody.
You get bangers.
It's the worst night in the entire year to go out for dinner, okay?
That's right.
Let's put it that way.
It sure is.
Go the 13th or
All
the...
right.
David, you get heart-shaped bangers.
There you go.
Okay, can we have a motion
I
to
move
adopt
that.
this schedule?
I moved it, Dennis. Moving for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next resolution is protocol for remote meetings.
It's interesting.
This was put together by our previous board attorney, who thought it was important that we have this in writing, and it seems to work. Does anybody have any discussion on this resolution?
The only discussion point I'd have, because I know we had a discussion a few months back about things like what else we could add to this, or do we need to worry about or have that discussion, or just adopt this as it is? And as things evolve, we can maybe modify it if we need to. It just seems like there's a lot of information.
I personally think it would be appropriate for the board to discuss exactly what they want out of the virtual component, and perhaps we table this resolution and I can tweak it. Obviously, you have it in front of you, so you can vote on it. But I think that we determined last year that with a hybrid functioning board, it might be appropriate to provide certain disclaimers,
Right.
where we say that, you know, the proceedings can be watched online, but in no way guarantees participation from the Zoom function or anything like that. So I would be interested in hearing the board's comments. If you can come to a consensus, I can rework this resolution for next meeting.
So why don't we table it?
Yeah, good enough.
And that was the point I think we were talking
Yeah,
about.
I think that it's, I should point out that the Communications Advisory Committee understands that there are technical problems, and in fact, the only board that is now holding a hybrid meeting is the Township Committee. The Board of Ed and the two land use boards are not holding hybrid meetings, and the Township Committee, the conduct of the hybrid meeting is rather ugly because it means turning off the speakers in the courtroom. And so anybody sitting in the back row of the courtroom is dependent on the people up front speaking loud enough that they can be heard. There is a technical issue with the feedback from the Zoom back into the courtroom speakers. The Communications Advisory Committee heard a little speech about the difficulty of fixing that at its meeting in December. The next meeting of that committee is at the end of this month. I think it's the last Thursday. We may know more as to whether or not the hybrid problem can be solved. But at this, yes.
If I could just add, Mr. Chairman, I think we want something, though, that will be flexible for the evolution of technology. I mean, because clearly, things are changing very rapidly and facilitating these hybrid meetings. So I don't want to look in the rearview mirror of what we can't do with technology, and instead have something that allows us to be flexible into something that we might have in the future.
Well, part of the problem is that the audio system in this room might have to be duplicated at a cost in excess of 5 digits.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I absolutely agree with Dawn. That let's just leave it flexible,
Yep.
Yeah.
and let's.
All right, I'm willing to accept Matt's suggestion that we table this. Does anyone have, yes?
I just wanted to add one more thing, that the reason why this particular resolution came up to begin with also for Matt's consideration when you redo it is that we were told that if at any point in the future, we need to go back to complete
Right.
Shut down.
Zoom based on pandemic scenario, health concerns, what have you, that's why we had it. So that I think we just need to keep that in there,
Okay,
in mind too.
I think that's fine. The only difference, however, would be if we were to have to go fully remote again, we have to redo the annual notice anyway, because the annual notices for them to be in this room. So what we would have to do is, in that circumstance, we would want to republish the annual notice with the link to the meeting.
Okay.
Can't you just put that as a sort of safety valve and have both? I mean, why does it have to be, where does it say that we just said?
Notice has to,
You
in
said
order for the
annual.
OPMA notice to be valid, it has to specify a location of the meeting.
Can you do
Even if under executive order,
either
we're
or?
directed to go remote, I mean, that's kind of what happened before.
Right, and a lot of the bodies passed appropriate resolutions
Gotcha.
to that effect, and redid their notice. That's what I instructed all of my boards to do, was to redo the notice. So in order to maintain that flexibility, what I suggest is maybe I can rework this resolution from last year. It can go forward at the next meeting, and we just would want to stay in contact between Deborah and myself to make sure that we're clear before, I don't know if there's another wave or something, that we do it appropriately and that the public's properly noticed.
Sorry to, where exactly was that stated? You said that annually.
So the previous resolution,
Yeah. Why am I missing this?
on the 2023 meeting hearing schedule,
Oh, the hearing schedule, okay.
all regular and special meetings,
Right.
hearings will begin
Right.
at 7:30 unless otherwise scheduled at the Township of Long Hill Municipal Building, 915 Valley Road, Gillette. And
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what will go to the papers for the annual notice?
So you would do?
Yes, I have to double check the language that I put in for the papers. I don't
So is it
remember.
possible you could do a modification to the language here, or by remote, or combination?
We could do that, and we
If
could pass a
properly
revised
notified,
one,
right.
but I would want the annual notice to get passed tonight, because it's the first meeting of the year. And then it can be revised as appropriate.
We can revise it, fine.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, good enough. We've already approved it, so.
Yeah,
It's already been
it can
done.
absolutely be revised, and it's just as simple as republishing in the paper and changing the
Okay.
language on the website.
Then I make that suggestion, you do that, when you would look at this, if there's an implication to the meeting schedule, then we should revise at that time as well.
Okay,
So do we have a motion on this resolution?
I don't
No,
think you
we
need
don't
to.
No, I think
need
it's
one.
gonna be tabled.
Oh, we're tabling.
Good?
I would like to publish this for the courtroom as we adopted it a few minutes ago, for the sole reason that although Don thinks we should look forward on this hybrid solution, the fact of the matter is that there's a great deal of capital expense involved in this, and the town administrator advised the Communications Advisory Committee that that might not happen in the '23 capital budget, that it might be the '24 capital budget. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about the timing of the technical solutions before we agree that an option would be hybrid meetings, right? For right now, I think we can stick with the courtroom. We can do that safely, and we will have plenty of notice as to when the hybrid meetings are technically available.
Yeah, I think we already agreed to that, right?
Yep.
We already agreed it's gonna, because we already approved that one.
Okay, so we're going to hold off on resolution number 7. And you're gonna rework that. And, does anyone have any more discussion on this matter before we go to the next resolution? Okay, resolution number 8, notice of publication. I have a question for the attorney here. Does this require that the applicants use these newspapers for their publication of hearing?
The requirement under the municipal land use law is a paper of general circulation in the municipality. So they only need to publish in one.
Okay, because we have had this problem before, because the Echoes only publishes on Thursday, and their deadline is Monday. we've got to have the hearing notice into the newspaper 15 days before the hearing date in order that the publication is 11 days before the hearing date. So what has happened in the past is that applicants have used the Star Ledger and put it in the Saturday newspaper in the Star Ledger because that just gives them 10 days. Even though, I can't tell you whether this Star Ledger is in general circulation in this town more so than the Echoes. But that's okay? You're telling me that that's okay for them to do that?
As long as it's a paper that's in general circulation in the municipality, you do not have to require an applicant publish in one or the other. This resolution is specifically for where the notices from the board come from.
Okay.
And just very quick, what about online versions? Does that have any implication with this? Does that would
You have to run through like their classified section and get a physical copy. Oftentimes, these papers don't publish their daily notices online anyway.
okay? And whoever reads the Morris County Daily Record anyhow, has anybody actually ever seen that?
There is a
Seen it?
website sponsored by the New Jersey Press Association which publishes all the notices from all the newspapers in the state.
It's not very,
I think that
it doesn't catch everything.
It's pretty damn good. Because I did a search, believe it or not, I went to that website and did a search for planning board engineer RFP to find out how many towns had published an RFP looking for a planning board engineer, like we are. And I got 145 hits, which means that a whole lot of towns are looking for new engineers.
all right.
So at any rate, that website is also out there, and it apparently publishes the echoes prior to Thursday, if you get it in on time, although it's not an official publication because the state of New Jersey agrees that it has to be on paper in order to be official.
So are you proposing an additional notice source?
No, I was just questioning whether or not this applied to applicants, and apparently it does not.
Okay. So I'd like to move this resolution.
Second?
It only applies to us. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Resolution number 9. The resolutions for all applications shall be sent to the planning board members for review prior to scheduled meetings, and a copy of said resolution will be posted on the township website once memorialized by the board.
So
Do
moved.
we need this?
Second.
Have we done this before?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it. Does anybody have a question or a problem?
That was, I moved and Teresa seconded.
All right, can we have a motion to adopt resolution number 9?
It's already been
We
moved and
had-
seconded.
already
You
had.
need to call.
Huh?
Roll call.
You just need to call.
This needs a roll call?
No.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Oh,
Aye.
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 any opposed? And, Mr. Files' favorite, resolution 10.
Absolutely. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah. Oh, cut off hearing? Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with it. Thank you. Let's move on.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Mr. Roberts.
Oh, where is resolution, resolution 11 is on the back. Thank you.
Yep.
On the very back of the deck, on the back of the back page, Robert's Rules of Order, resolution number 11.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Got you, Donna.
Does anyone here feel the need to appoint a member as parliamentarian?
No.
Nope.
More rules? No.
How good are you at Robert's rules?
I mean, I do this every night, so.
Good enough.
So we have an ex officio parliamentarian. Thank you. Board Secretary's report. What do you have to say for yourself?
Happy New Year. That's all I got so far.
Good enough.
We have nothing pending currently for the board, other than master plan and ordinance review, and we do have stuff, coming down in the future, but nothing's.
Now, we told G2 that they were scheduled for February 14th if and only if they got their paperwork in by January 15. Do you know where that stands?
I do not.
That's only 5 days from now.
Correct. I will be following up with them on Tuesday.
And that is a Sunday, and Monday is a holiday. So Tuesday, 2 days late, would be acceptable to you, or do they have to get in by Friday?
It'll be acceptable. I mean, because Samantha.
Well, you're not gonna be here Friday anyway.
I'm gonna be working
Okay.
remotely.
So let the record show that we will accept the 17th as the deadline. Otherwise, there will not be a G2 hearing on February 14th. Because we expect it will be robust changes, and that will require a lot of consultant time,
Provided they extend time of decision. if applicable.
provided they extend time. And if they don't extend time,
And it starts over.
well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The next item on the agenda is committee assignments. We only have one statutory committee, according to the ordinance, and that is the Pre-Application Review Committee. We had one hit for that committee in 2022, and I'm not even sure how many of us showed up for that. Was I the only person there, Deborah, or did somebody else come to that
I
one?
thought we had set up kind of more ad hoc, that as a request would come in, we would form.
Yeah,
Serves me correctly.
this was a meeting for the Delaware Avenue development, and it was held at an unusual time. It was a one-off meeting, just to get it out of the way. And I would like to continue that as an ad hoc. All depends on when they want it and if we're available.
How much notice are we typically given for a pre-app? Is there some sort of requirement for a request for a pre-application here? Or-
They have to file an application with the secretary, but it's free. And it doesn't have to be noticed, and there is no record of the meeting.
Gotcha.
But that's the only committee that is listed for us in the ordinance. The other committee that is extremely pressing is the Engineer Selection Committee. And I would like to reappoint the current members, Mr. Ray and Mr. Richardson and myself. We are rolling along on that. We have 6 applications, 6 proposals, and we intend to interview 3 of them on Thursday night. And there is a rush to get this done because the zoning board has to make an appointment at their reorg meeting next Tuesday night. It's because they've got applications queued up waiting for an engineer. So we'll see how that goes with the zoning board, if we can get a recommendation to them by next Tuesday, and then we'll deal with it at our meeting 2 weeks from now.
Could we do a joint next Tuesday or not?
Say again?
Could we do a joint meeting with them next Tuesday?
If
That was original, or does we need time?
The intention right now is that the committee, the screening committee of 6 of us, 3 from each board, will make a recommendation, and that'll be the end of it. If anybody on the board wants to talk with them, we'll make separate arrangements.
Okay.
Or you can join us, I suppose we could put one more at the table on Thursday night if you really want to sit through 3 interviews.
No, it wasn't that, it's just existing practice we've got together, but if, in this case, we're just gonna let the subcommittee do the work, or committee do the work, then fine.
Yeah, we'll do the
Yeah, I
do the
don't have any
work.
objection to, if you guys come up with it.
We've actually interviewed 1 already, and there are 3 more to go, so,
And the board will have to adopt a new resolution.
That's fine.
Appointing the engineer
Sure.
when one is so selected.
Sure, but we won't get a chance to interview them as a board this time. That's the difference.
Apparently not.
So out of the 6, you're interviewing 4?
say again?
Out of the 6, you're interviewing 4?
We interviewed 1 and there are 3 to go, yes.
Okay, and 2 have been eliminated?
2, yeah, we did a straw poll of the RFPs, and the consensus of the committee was that 2 of them were, I forget the exact word I used. Does anyone remember the exact words I used in the questionnaire? It was on the order of probably not a contender.
Okay, that's fine.
And my last question, did you get some good
And,
candidates?
the members of the board voted independently by email, and the consensus was pretty clear. We seemed to have a good grasp of what the RFPs were saying and who we wanted to talk to.
Did you get good candidates? Are you comfortable with the candidates?
We'll let you know after the interviews.
But from the RFP, you felt good about these people you
4.
brought forward, the 4 of them?
They were acceptable. They
Yeah.
were
They were good people. The
and
difficult
firms
one,
that are known,
So
some
you-
firms that are not as known, but
So you're confident out of the 4, you're going to get somebody, you're
Yes.
going to choose somebody
we'll
that's going to
we'll
be...
be able to find an
Yeah,
engineer.
okay, good enough.
out of this work.
That's okay, good
I
enough.
mean, unless they all bomb the interview. I don't know, I doubt that'll be the case.
Right.
and although they all led with the price of the managing partner, by the time they named the guy who would work with us and gave us his title, and we cross-referenced that to the rate chart, they're all pretty much within $10 of what we were paying Samantha. So I'm content that we don't have any outliers on the price basis.
Good enough?
The next committee that we need to deal with,
You should get a motion reappointing those 3 to your engineer selection committee.
no, we don't. That's a chairman's appointment. The next committee is the master plan committee. And as you know, the master plan committee presented its first complete draft in December, and we are all working on that. And at this point, I would like to ask Mr. Richardson to work with the planner and come up with a real solid schedule and price list for completing the work. This is not really a committee assignment. This is a knowledgeable people. Here's the problem I have. I would like a schedule that has public hearings before summer. Because whatever that schedule is, it will slip. And that'll put public hearings in September, and then we're gonna have a crisis trying to get the final adoption before the end of the year. So I would like to work toward a goal of public hearings before summer. And my question of you is, can you and Liz put together a schedule that'll make that happen? And then at the next meeting, which will be a master plan discussion meeting on the 24th, then we'll settle on the appointment of the rest of the committee.
Will do.
The other committees that we...
Could I just make one comment
Yeah.
about that? I am pleased, that, again, if the board will have me continue, I know it's a chairman appointed board, I'd be happy to continue to steer this. I think the important part now going forward, and I thank everyone for providing comments at this point. As you know, we had a deadline that was extended about a week. Certainly, if you have more comments, you can provide those, but we really got to cut it off just from the standpoint on this first draft, because we want to release a second draft for consideration by the next meeting. We're going to address each and every comment, okay? So we have spoken to the planner, and we will acknowledge each of the comments that have been provided, so folks don't feel like that it has been dismissed or something's going on in a non-transparent fashion as we get through this process.
And I would also like to add that if any of the members of last year's master plan committee feel compelled to work with Don and putting that second draft together,
I
you're
would
welcome to
appreciate it.
volunteer.
I volunteer again.
Yeah, I'll volunteer again.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We have some momentum, Mr. Chair, and
Let's get
we'll
it done.
provide that information in the next meeting.
Thank you.
So can I just confirm, is that the four of us in the committee then,
Correct.
as
So
of
that-
now? Because you said earlier about deciding committee appointments later.
I'm sorry?
I thought you said a minute ago, we'll wait until after you get the report back from the...
Yeah, I want to see what the report says in terms of resources and schedule, because we may need a bigger committee, we may need a different committee, we may need additional staff.
Can't have a bigger one.
I don't see why we need that. I would just say,
Well, we can't have a bigger one
No, we've
on
got
the
the four.
board. We
let's just,
could bring in at-large people outside of the board.
I don't see,
I am,
We have four board members now, we can't have five.
I don't see any need to prolong that.
We can't have five because we'd have a quorum.
And I'll work with you, Mr. Chairman, in regards to
Right.
what has been expended to date
Mhm.
in regards to the budget as well. I assume you have that information. I've not seen the most recent. Okay, so we need to,
we need to look at what needs to be done. I mean, we've got a lot of sunk costs from 2014 through 2022. We've got sunk costs. This is turning out to be a very expensive master plan. There's no question about it, but we need to get it done. We need to get it done in the next 11 and a half months. So what's that gonna cost? And then we'll have to ask the township committee for that kind of money. And, maybe they won't give it to us, in which case we're gonna have to have Plan B.
got it.
Bake sale.
Thank you.
Right? But is the committee reinstated?
Yes.
Agreed?
Say again?
I just
I
want-
mean, I need help from the committee to pull
Just
these
reinstate it
comments
and get on.
together in preparation for the next meeting. Are we saying that the committee is not constituted till the next meeting? Because then we're
What
gonna
I
lose-
said a few minutes ago was that any member of last year's committee is welcome to volunteer to help you.
Okay, and I think
As a committee.
But I don't want to appoint the committee at this point in time until I see what it is that we're gonna need to meet a schedule.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Because maybe we need more resources, maybe we need fewer.
Understood.
I think we're so close now, I'll be surprised, personal opinion.
You've been close before.
What I don't want to do is what we did in 2016 and 2020, which is hold a lot of panic, and 2022, which is hold a lot of panic meetings in December, trying to get it done and not get done. I want to see a schedule that is realistic and allows slippage.
My wife tells me that this better get done by the first quarter.
There you go. So does mine. Let's move
Or
on.
I will be.
My wife said
And you're not alone.
We're close,
No,
Dennis.
you'll just not be doing
move on.
master plan. That's cheaper.
Okay, I have no other committees that I want to appoint right now. An ordinance committee, we don't have anything pending there. Let's see what comes down the pike. We did submit an ordinance to the township committee in November, and they have not put that on the agenda yet, because they don't carry ordinances over the end of the year. But that's the only thing that I know that is open right now. The restaurant music ordinance is in the hands of,
Liz, right?
that's a question.
I thought it was with Liz, those ones, right? She's going to come back with the, I think even on the ATV stuff, those two, if I recall, Liz was going to put a page or two together with some comments. That's what I recall. Is that what you called on?
I don't recall where the ball is.
I thought it was with Liz, very clearly with Liz,
You
those
might
items.
want to touch base.
Yeah, absolutely. Just confirm. That's my recollection. And if anybody else has a different recollection, that's my
Liz.
recollection.
All right, I'll look around for that.
Yeah, just see what Liz has to say. It'd be good.
We talked about the master plan committee, or any other committee reports. We talked about the engineer committee. Any other committees from last year that need to report? Any other old or new business? I thank Mr. Jones for his discourse at the beginning of the meeting about things that he would like to get done. I have no disagreement with that, and if you'll please keep me honest, I'll see how much of that we can do. Is there any other business to come before the board tonight? Ms. Dill,
No business here.
would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I would gladly. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well done.
Actually,
Meeting
can we-
adjourned.